Are you guys able to hear me? Restart if you're unable to hear me. Restart. Hold on. Let me try it now. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Just one moment. One moment. One moment. One moment. How about now, guys? Are we good? Can you guys hear me now? My sound's working. Good? Okay. All right. I do appreciate you guys waiting there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the great bank prophecy, what to expect ahead. We have our results now. Chinese names, get a breather. So did I. Precise daily stock levels, our game plan and Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. The great bank prophecy is here. Are you guys ready to see what the market has ahead? Yeah, it's just as we expected. Again, I am putting myself on the line. I'll be wrong. I'll be right. I'll be right. I'll be wrong. I'll be right. But one of the things that people will always appreciate about what I do is I'll always be open. I will not talk about something that happens ahead of time. I said, though, watch OZRK. OZRK, the Bank of Ozarks, I've never heard of them until I started, looking at all the different banks. I haven't heard of them up until like a few years ago. But the Bank of Ozarks, it's a financial service sector. It's a regional U.S. bank. And it gives you a good idea of the state of affairs inside the United States. So this was the really critical aspect of you, if you will, of what could happen to the entire market. So why are you watching this little garbage bank, Mark? Is it a foretelling of a sign to come? I believe yes. Let's go right into it. So here we are right here with OZRK. That's the Bank of the Ozarks. It's a regional bank. They announced earnings after hours, and the stock is gapping down. So what they did was they reported 89 cents versus 89 cents expected diluted earnings per share, but they were short on revenue. They were short on revenue. Let me tell you, I don't know if you remember, but I'll remind you. There was a time called 2009, when all of you were college students, right? 2009. If you were a trader back then, let me remind you what happened. All these banks, all these stocks, they were all getting destroyed. Remember the 2008 crisis? Just to give you an idea, here's Citigroup back in 2008, and you could see it went from like $298 to $30, and managed to climb back up. Let me give you a better example of J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan, as you could see back in 2008, in 2009, J.P. Morgan was a $14.96 stock, and today it's over 100. The difference between J.P. Morgan, for example, I don't know what they're going to report. I think there's a good chance that they beat on earnings per share and beat a little on revenue, but it better be out of the park because it's being priced in that JP Morgan better crush it. Now I zoom out on this chart and I notice something. You notice something? I'll tell you what I notice here on this chart. Look back on 1995, when most of you were just a twinkle in your father's eye. 5 green years in a row, followed by 3 red years in a row. Notice what we did here? We put 6 green red years in a row, and then we shot up and we pulled in. This goes back to my market theory. If you guys have read my 2018 report, that we were going to shoot up higher and then close the year lower. Now, again, shooting up higher, so I'm half right so far. The other half did not come in. It would insinuate a form of a, I don't want to call it a bear market because I look at where like the Qs have rallied from, and basically what I was predicting was this bar in the Qs would be red this year. We opened up at 156.56, 20 points lower breaks us even for the year in the Qs. Anything under that pulls us red. So obviously it's quite the bold call here, quite the bold call in the triple Qs for this move higher. So back to the daily chart. Back to the daily chart here of OZRK. It's a sign. It's an omen of things to come. And what's happening here? And I'll just pull up the 5 minutes so you can see what happened after hours. It plunged, meaning you have to really beat the street in a meaningful manner if you're going to be that bank that takes off. Now, do I think like JP Morgan and Citigroup are going to beat the average analyst consensus? Yes. Yes, I do. Which leads to the funny part because I know what you're sitting there thinking right now. You're thinking, Mark, why do you think these banks are going to sell off on earnings? I just do. I just do. I think Apple and Facebook would have gotten crushed on earnings. Yet I bet on Apple short incorrectly. Their numbers sucked, but they announced the largest buyback in history and they shot it up. And then I looked at Facebook and I'm like, Facebook's earnings are also going to suck, but I'm going to buy this one here because they should also do the biggest buyback in history. And we predicted it before they reported, if you remember, if you watched the Newsbeat shows. And we bought Facebook calls and we crushed it. And I was like, oh, okay. And what did they do? They announced crappy earnings and they did the big buyback. The problem with the banks is they announced these buybacks too early. They announced them too early. They tried to satiate. Satiate is your SAT word for the day. And the banks tried to satiate the Fed when they were trying to pass this stress test by showing, well, we're so confident in our common stock trading at all-time highs that we want to buy more stock here than ever. Which is, it takes the word nonsensical to the next level. So you're telling me Bank of America back in 2009 was a $2.53 stock. 2053-cent stock, as you can see right here on Bank of America. You didn't want to do this buyback then? I got news for you. Instead of doing the $20 billion buyback now, you could have done a $1 billion buyback back in 2009 and have the same amount of money. You would have spent 5% as much. Isn't that smart? But now all of a sudden, all these stocks are ripping and now's the time to buy. And it just goes back to the average thought on Wall Street, what all the analysts are telling you about the banks. And again, sometimes I'll look at these analysts and I'll agree with them. And sometimes I'll look at them and I'll say, I disagree with you. And they'll be right sometimes when I disagree with them. And I'll be right sometimes when I disagree with them. But I will be right the majority of the time. So what I'm utilizing here, even when I'm wrong, I will be right well over 7 out of 10 times when I make a prediction like this. So what I am saying here is the likely move to the banks are they beat on earnings, they beat on revenue, and they don't shoot up through the ceiling. Maybe they open up flattish. Maybe they destroy all the people holding options. I think they sell off. I think these banks are going to sell off. And what happens if the banks sell off? Here is the big thing to know if the banks sell off. Good night, spiders. Good night, spiders. What do I mean by good night, spiders? How about a $272 target by next week? That's bold enough, right? That's bold enough for you? 272 target in spiders by next week? Doesn't seem bold enough, but it pretty much is insinuating that you're going to give back all the gains that you had since you exploded out on Friday, if not potentially more, which I think we'll have. And again, what is it? Tomorrow's Thursday, so I'm predicting in like 7 trading days that we're going to drop 5 points in the spiders. That's bold enough. I mean, it's not saying the spiders are going to $100. I get that, but these banks can cause the spiders to sell off. And if I'm wrong, the spiders should resume upwards. I think this OZRK is a telltale sign. People are not paying enough attention to it, is my humble humble fundamental opinion here. The stock is getting crapped on after hours. Watch it tomorrow to see how it acts. And if this thing can't get any momentum to the upside, I would use Bank of America. I would use Wells Fargo, which is WFC. Bank of America is BAC. And I would use Citigroup, that's letter C, for a potential short trade. I would look at those for the short trade. Here, let me just double check the earnings. Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo, not Bank of America. Bank of America is next Monday. And PNC Bank is also reporting. Okay. I mean, again, I think they're going to beat on earnings. I think their outlook is going to suck. They're going to beat on revenues, beat on earnings per share. Every analyst is bullish on the banks right now. I can't find one really, I mean, one serious and maybe a small boutique firm, which no one pays attention to. In terms of the major analyst firms there, I cannot find one that are bearish on the banks like I am. Again, I don't get paid 6, 7 figures to analyze these banks. I get paid 6, 7 figures to bet on these banks and bet on these banks going down. So that's what I will do. Um, with that being said, let me just 1 second here. Let me just get a quick screen capture for you guys so I could show you the agenda. And we have it right over here. And as I did list it, I listed it as the Great Bank Prophecy and what to expect ahead. I do think we're going to fall down, and I'm going to be looking to bet bearish. Next on our radar is something I find very interesting here. We're going to talk about Chinese names getting a breather, and I did take an overnight today in Huya. Huya. It sounds, Huya. It's a media company. And one of the things I was talking about before, I'll get back to the chart in a second. One of the things I was talking about is what we talked about on the Newsbeat show yesterday. If you're of course more than welcome to watch it. Newsbeat show was at 121, I believe. I talked about the companies that were going to be very negatively affected out of China with a potential tariff increase. Now, we haven't heard of the companies that are being listed yet. So, what did I list bullishly? I only mentioned letter X. So, what happened? Look what, I promise you, you won't find one other stock with a candlestick formation like this. Where do you see two green bars like this? So, I talked bullish about X yesterday. It opened up, and if you bought it, you crushed it because it shot up, obviously. But look how awkward that is. I mean, I've never, where do you see two green bars that look like that together? I find it extremely odd on the daily. However, I said letter X was going to be a winner. And if you remember who I said was going to be a loser of all of this, I mentioned Baba was going to be the big Chinese loser, which got crushed, closed at day lows today. Day lows 187.42, close 187.42. Go figure. I also mentioned Walmart would be a loser today. What happened with Walmart? Opened up and fell. Look, the market opened up, popped up, fell down. This thing opened up and crapped right away. So just showing you the accuracy of where we were thinking with this tariff thing. There might be future trades ahead to short Walmart, to short Alibaba, especially if these names bounce. But of course, you look at Amazon. Amazon Web Services, the number one money maker for Amazon. This one actually I feel is going to set up for a good short opportunity. Again, buying Amazon puts is not the sexiest thing in the world. Everybody loves buying calls in Amazon, and there's a good reason because you're more likely to make money. I think it's going to change this time. So look for some of these Chinese names to get a breather. So the Chinese names that I wasn't really paying much attention to was Alibaba because I was bearish. But how about the strict Chinese names that probably have nothing to do with these tariffs, like Huya, Chinese media company, bullish engulfing bar. Do you notice something about Huya's volume today? There was more volume today in Huya ever traded. There's more volume today in Huya, which is Huya, ever, including the day it IPO'd. If you could see all the way on the left there, you can't see because my gorgeous mug is in the way. Right there, you see 11.6 million on May 11th when the stock IPO'd. But I did take $40 calls out to August. The truth is, I don't even think I hold this to August. Do I think this stock could easily break $40? Yes. So I'm going to come out officially today, and maybe it goes down tomorrow. Like just, even looking now, the stock is showing down 17 cents after hours right now. Look, I'll show you. Here's the after hours right here. Last printed 36.30, and it closed at 36.47. So even with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a $40 target on Huya. Doesn't sound like the biggest deal in the world. You're like, Mark, this thing moves dollars every day. And I'm like, yes, it's going to go up 10%. And I think it goes up 10%. You're ready? You're ready? Potentially by Friday. Potentially by Friday, meaning it could happen tomorrow, could happen the day after. The market is pulling in, so maybe it's the wrong day. I did buy August call, so if it happens next Monday, I'll be like, okay, fine, that's what you need to do. The Qs are down after hours right now. The spiders are showing slightly up after hours, but just to put myself on the record, $40 target on HUYA. That's Huya. Um, I think this stock is going to rally above 40 bucks, and I think it happens by Friday. So, with that being said, um, there we go. All right, with that being said, we're going to go into our precise daily stock levels. I know I've been forgetting to show you guys this thing recently, and I'm sorry for that. Totally unintentional. But here you go. You're more than welcome to screenshot it. I'm showing you my support and resistance. And just to show you the levels we gave you yesterday on Apple, if you saw our support yesterday on Apple, we gave you, again, the majority of the time these levels don't hit. And that's what you have to realize about giving support and resistance levels. The majority of the time, they actually don't hit. What you need to do is you need to wait till they do hit. And Apple actually bottomed out today at 187.61. It broke our level today by 10 cents and then bounced a little. And it bounced. It's up 30 cents off today's low in the after hours trading right now. So nothing, spectacular for Apple, but nonetheless, you did indeed hit our algorithmic support for Apple. So just going back to the levels, you have a ball right there, giving you guys everything. Netflix is reporting next week. This action should really pick up well. I mean, I know I'm hanging out with a lot of you guys this Saturday to give the Newsbeat masterclass. We're going to teach you exactly what we do, how we call these levels, and just to show you a trade we did today, just real quick. This was sort of a chase trade, and I sort of chased the stock pretty much through day highs. And I'm sure a lot of you guys were wondering like why I went ahead and did it. So I thought I would just show you. And here's in 1 minute. Again, one of the stocks on our pre-market radar today was Myriad Genetics, and it opened up at 40.17, and I missed it as it shot to 42. Digested over here, and I missed it again as it shot to 43.34. And I'm looking back and I'm like, oh God, I had a real winner there, and I didn't end up buying it. Using the 1 minute exponential 8 strategy right here, you can see we bounced perfectly off it using the methodology, which that is one of the 2 million things I'm going to be teaching you this Saturday. And check this out. So what happened was you started forming this bull flag falling wedge here. And what I ended up doing here was I started buying it through 42.80. So not at day highs. I didn't, spend 43.34 at the time, but I did buy it much higher at 42.80. And I set a simple stop right below the low here. So it's taking about a $400 risk. $400 risk or so on Myriad Genetics off just 1,000 shares. Again, I attacked it very light. My conviction was, very low here today, and the stock exploded out. And this is a 1 minute chart, so just to show you how it looked on the 5 minute for us, we ended up buying it here, and the stock shot up to $44.31. Really nice, easy scalp, really nice catch by us today in the market, and that was my best trade of the day. We also caught some Philip Morris. That was nice. Just to show you, if you didn't notice today, Philip Morris actually exploded out right here. We actually caught it after 11 o'clock. It exploded out. And I had some shares and I was able to make decent money. Made a grand today, which, again, normally, like I would say, I made 1,000 today. That, it's good in this market condition, and it's not much, but the truth is, it is. Making a grand in a market condition like this to me it makes me extremely excited. We're going to get so much more action at the end of this week when. Citigroup, JP Morgan, PNC Bank, Wells Fargo report next week. I'll go with you right now. Let's look at what's reporting next week. We have Bank of America Monday morning. We have Netflix Monday night, Monday after the market close. Tuesday morning, Goldman Sachs, Johnson and Johnson, United Health. Tuesday morning, this is. We have CSX after hours on Tuesday. Interactive Brokers, United Continental Holding. CSX. Let's see what we have on Wednesday. Wednesday morning, Morgan Stanley, Textron, that's TXT. Alcoa, American Express after hours on that Wednesday. eBay, IBM. Guys, we have no choice but to get good market action ahead. So glad we're getting towards more volatility. I was hoping the volatility would pick up by now. It did pick up a little, don't get me wrong. We have Philip Morris reporting. Just so many exciting things that are going to be reporting. We're going to have strategies to trade all of them. So I am looking forward to trading them, of course, with you. With that being said, our game plan in Forex. I went over the Huya, that's HUYA, giving you guys a very simple bullish trigger through yesterday's high. Today's high, which you'll be, of course, looking to potentially trade tomorrow. So it would be yesterday's high tomorrow. I'm giving you today's high of 36.78. And again, it's showing up 6 cents after hours as I'm talking about it more. But nonetheless, 36.78 will be the breakout on HUYA. And again, I am holding $40 calls. I just purchased them. I purchased them pretty much at the day highs right before the end of the day. So I didn't even get like some amazing price. The stock rallied 6 points today on more volume than it's ever had ever. I think we're going to gap up tomorrow nicely in it, hopefully. And I'll look to take some good, quick, easy profits. How about our Forex? Our Forex trades have been on fire recently. I went through that like slowdown period. Then all of a sudden I started, really winning. Let's just go into it right here. Okay, right over here. You get all my Forex trades. They're all buys. You get my size in US standard lots. You get the symbol that I am trading. And again, this is massive, massive position sizing when you consider all the trading accounts in which my orders get copied to. So these are massive. I mean, there's more than meets the eyes. So what I'm saying is, with the millions and millions and millions of dollars under management for Forex, what you see here is the exact place where I'm putting my bid throughout all these accounts duplicated. This is 125% transparency. There's 6 trillion with a T like tango, $6 trillion of Forex every day. Here are all my bids up to 5 decimal places out. If I get filled and I am wrong, I will get stopped out right over here. If I get filled and I am right, I will have my take profit over there. I notice my take profit on Canadian US dollar is 0. Oh my goodness, what happened? Let's fix that. I'll fix it with you right now. Whoa, see? Let's modify our rudder here. Just take you with me live over here so you could see um, beautiful bullish engulfing bar. So I was looking for a pullback to the algo buster trend line, then maybe a follow through to the upside. I could see this thing getting to 1.3235. So let's put take profit at 1.3235. We're just going to hit modify. So 1.3235, as you could see, my live order here is exactly where I'm placing my bid right now in US Canadian. Glad I caught that. But just going back, again, if you wish to screenshot it, here it is. What an insane day. It feels like the market has been absolutely weird. A lot of people in the Newsbeat live room have been making phenomenal calls. Somebody, Gilbert in the room here, called a spider put play. 20-cent puts went to like about 60 cents today. They tripled. And just a lot of phenomenal calls in the room. And I'm really so proud of you guys. You bring so many money making opportunities, well beyond the money making opportunities that I bring in on a day in and day out basis. And I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. For all the rest of you, we're going to go into our full stock analysis now. That is my stocks, my level, your stocks, my levels and thoughts. You see what happens when you have a long day in the market? You get a little cuckoo in the brain. Wife feels I should be in a insane asylum. I happen to agree. Full stock analysis, your stock, my levels and thoughts. That is for Newsbeat Live members only. We're the fastest growing trading room in the United States of America. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.